The sky was silent. The airplanes went home, so the kites could play. Dear Mahtab, I was thinking about our connection. A connection nurtured in the saddest of times. A connection made in time when people were dying and suffering all around us. A connection made in a time when we were all tested, regardless of where we were. I'm glad we were blessed to nurture this connection during that very painful of times. And now, my dear pen pal, I'm writing to you again. I ask that you listen to me with an open heart. By that, I mean a heart open to perspectives and kind enough to forgive its flaws. Most of the footage that I'll share with you, Mahtab, was shot during those times of the pandemic, when I was alone, but also at one with myself. Be it forced, I was deep within myself, observing myself and my surrounding like I've never before. It was a deep and forced introspection.
Dear Earth, who has the right to draw lines on you? Sir Cyril Radcliffe, that's who. They even named him over you, the Radcliffe Line that democrated you in 1947. Pakistan was born in violence. It was the first border that broke us, that separated us and displaced us. 15 million people began searching for home and 1 million people died trying. It created a legacy of hatred through religious division, and it worked. Every day Pakistan and India celebrate their resentment towards one another. Our hatred has become a form of entertainment. This is the legacy of colonialism. Yet at the time of its creation, it posed as the bastion of supposed democracies and newfound freedoms, ideals which could never be achieved under the falsehood of its realisation. So who am I in all this? Am I only British Pakistani? Or can I dare claim India and Bangladesh as my ancestral land too? Earth, I want to stop feeling torn. I want to heal.
May you heal, may we heal, and may we heal our ancestors by our actions. I'll repeat what my Lakota brothers and sisters have taught me. To the Creator, for the ultimate gift of life, I thank you. To the mineral nation that has built and maintained my bones and all foundations of life experience, I thank you. To the plant nation that sustains my organs and body and gives me healing herbs for sickness, I thank you. To the animal nation that feeds me from your own flesh and offers your loyal companionship in this walk of life, I thank you. To the human nation that shares my path as a soul upon the sacred wheel of earthly life, I thank you. To the spirit nation that guides me invisibly through the ups and downs of life and for carrying the torch of light through the ages, I thank you. To the four winds of change and growth, I thank you. You are all my relations, my relatives, without whom I would not live. We're in the circle of life together, coexisting, codependent, co-creating our destiny. One not more important than the other. One nation evolving from the other, and yet each dependent upon the one above and the one below. All of us a part of the great mystery. Thank you for this life.
Dear Packy, I've known you since I was 6 years old. You literally broke me in half when young boys and men used to spit and shout your word with such hate and venom. You made me feel ashamed of my heritage, my identity, and most of all my brown skin. But what does your word mean? I came across this text. It's hard to read, and you may even be offended, but it's important you understand the origin of your word. The stereotype of the Packy, which is contradictory as many stereotypes, finds him sitting down at home where he lives in filth with at least a dozen others in a couple of rooms to a meal of tinned cat food or dog meat, weary from his day of labour at the dole office. He's dirty, promiscuous and cheeky, but he also keeps to himself and he does not mix at all. He's a homo, but he nevertheless always sneaking up to white girls in search of jiggy-jag. He's a layabout, an idler, who threatens to put other men out of work, working every hour he isn't sleeping, and when he isn't sleeping, another Packy is sleeping in his bed with more money than sense. The Packy is always inevitably out of work and scrounging on social security. In short, he's a thrifty spendthrift, a rampantly heterosexual homosexual, a social security scrounger on the night shift in the spinning room, a randy man with an exotic religion which forbids sexuality, a work-shy layabout with the strength of a horse, who is only too happy to take the lowest butt-end jobs which a white man would only laugh. Is this me? Is this us? No. At 27, I saw you again. You greeted me in an alleyway just off the Ladypool Road in Birmingham. Someone walking past spat at you, and I made a picture of you. For years, I was trying to figure out what I'd do with you, exhibiting you in many forms. Then eventually it came to me. I had to show you mercy, heal you, because I realised you were broken to break me. You're no longer a Packy, you're a Pakistani.
I've been called a cat, uncouth. I've been called a Firingi, an outsider. I've been called a Packy, at home and abroad, even though my nationality is Bangladeshi, even though the Pakistani army killed my family members in 1971, even though my father became a prisoner of war in 1971, even though my mom became a refugee in 1971. Am I Bangladeshi? Am I Bengali? Am I a Muslim? How much of a Bangladeshi do I have to be in peace? What good is a country if it makes you feel unwanted for your belief, for your religion? Where is the right to exist without fear? Where is freedom? And why is everyone selling it when none can deliver it? Where is home?
Dear Othering, now you're a funny one. Until the age of 17, the main form of exclusion was based on my skin colour. To put it bluntly, racism. In a way, I was able to deflect that form of hatred because it was surface-based. It was the way I looked on the outside, not really about me. However, Othering, you came to me at college through other brown people that looked like me, friends who were Pakistani, Kashmiri, Bangladeshi, A new othering confronted me with another form of exclusion. This time my people ridiculed me for my attitude, my personality, and even my culture. You told me I was too white, I was fish and chips, and you called me a John. I spoke too gently for you, too posh. Essentially I spoke like a white boy, and so the word coconut entered my life. You know, brown on the outside and white on the inside. But really, how can you call me a coconut when I was just being me? I felt I was not rejecting any form of myself. I was simply being the most authentic version of myself. So I asked the question, why did you make me experience another form of racism by my own? Was it about the preservation of cultures, the fear of change? Was it self-hatred or internalized racism? Or was it about jealousy and envy because I was further along the journey of my healing, playing with these fine lines of integration, assimilation, and absorption? Are we not meant to grow, expand, transform, transcend, so that one day we are a multiple of cultures, hybrids? Coconut, you make me laugh. You too are racist.
Dear being, you hold this body in this lifetime, this you, an amalgamation of infinite number of events, this you. As am I, an amalgamation of an infinite number of events in time and space. And if we went furthest back in time, we will merge and become one. One. How come it is so that this one in nature can be so divided, fragmented, and scattered? Why is there so much oppression, pain, and exploitation within this one? Why do the wounds feel so open and porous? A hard question to answer and to ask. Maybe the beginning of all pain is from despair. Despair from darkness. Not being able to see our undivided self.
Dear home, you rarely made me feel safe or grounded. I'm constantly trying to understand who you are and where you belong in my heart. You made me feel like I did not belong, that I was not welcomed, and I could not stay indefinitely. You're troubled, and you made me move a lot, and this shook me. As a child and adult, you made me homeless. Homes became hostels, hostels became bedsits, and then flats. I didn't even know what you looked like anymore. Over the last few weeks, I revisited all the places I once called home to mourn you. Here's my list. 6 Napier Street, Glasgow, my first home as a newborn. 293 St George's Road, Glasgow, where I almost died of double pneumonia. 32 Rupert Street, Glasgow, where I almost died running through a glass door hyped from a Bollywood movie. This was also the home we lost everything. Bankruptcy from a failed business because my father used to argue and beat customers in his shop. Mount Pleasant Hotel, King's Cross, London, our first hostel as a family. I remember living in one big room and watching The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe on TV with my brothers and sisters. 109 Medlicott Road, Birmingham. I was 5 when I moved to my grandfather's home. We stayed for a few months before the council gave us a home. It was the first council home, but not our last. 71 Warwick Road, Sparkbrook. This was the home where my mum tried to run away from my father's abuse. She took all 4 of us to Bradford to escape. 62 Bridgewater Road, Bradford. We stayed for a short while with my uncle and his family. One day my father drove up. He pleaded for my mum to come home. We went back to Warwick Road. 71 Warwick Road again. Life did not get any better for my mum, or us. so she ran away once more, leaving us behind. We did not see our mum for weeks, and then she came back, devised a plan, and we escaped in a taxi. Link House, on Sandon Road, Harborne, our second hostel, this one dedicated to vulnerable women. We lived here for a year, celebrated Eid twice, and it was one of the happiest moments for my mum. This was also the home I heard my dad break down in his car. He asked my mum for forgiveness, and she said no. 27 Brunswick Road, Handsworth. This was my mum's first home that she could call hers. She rebuilt her life sewing, and we used to help her too. But it was also the home I lost my mum and my elder sister and my twin for 10 years. I decided to move with my father to look after him, and I was 7 years old. Mounsley House, Maypole. A high-storey block, so run down it has since been demolished, but this was the type of building I lived in with my brother and father. A one-bedroom flat was home for 3 years, and that home brought racism directly into our lives. I suffered violence on the streets and in the home. 22 Stonehenge, Croft, Druids, Heath. I moved here with my brother and father for 7 years. I became a slave, cooked and cleaned, and was beaten daily. I was 17 when I decided to run away from home to escape my father's control and violence. That was the last time I would live with him, leaving behind my brother. 172 Daisy Farm Road, Yardley Wood. My closest friend Alan and his family welcomed me in their home. Then my mother found me 6 weeks later, a mother who was absent in my life for 10 years. 179 Nineveh Road, Handsworth. This was my mum's home where she brought up my elder sister and my twin. I did not see them for 10 years, and it was here we all started again. 183 Holly Road, Handsworth. My mum needed to move to a bigger home, so we moved here. This was the home I began to study art and photography. This was the home where I began to find myself. 12 Aston Manor Close, Perry Barr. This has been my mother's home for 20 plus years. It was here I became homeless when my mother threw me out. It was because I fell in love with a girl at college and she and her family disapproved. St Edmunds Court, Small Heath, a hostel once more, and my first place called home. It was a bedsit for 3 months, and then I had a flat. And after a year of silence, my mum asked me to come home. I agreed, stayed at my mother's for 3 months, and then moved as a student to London. London, I'll never mourn you, because I found myself in your chaos. And in London, moving is what young Londoners do. But moving home so many times has made me a nomad. I'm happiest when I have the ability to travel, meet new people, and carry my belongings on my body. I think it's why I ended up becoming an artist. It's a lonely existence at times, and so that can be hard. So when I feel shaken, I place my right hand on my heart and reaffirm that I am safe, I am home. And it is why I have the word Gar tattooed near my wrist. So where is home? It's in me, not in the bricks and mortar that can be taken away from you. Home is me. And so it's everywhere, which includes those in front of me.
There is an expression in Bengali, Joy Guru. Not so fashionable these days, but the wise Bauls and Sufis of Bengal have stuck with it. It's simple, yet profound. See, Gu means darkness, and the Ru means to remove. It's an invitation to remove all the darkness with light. Anyone who helps with that is a guru. Joy Guru.
Dear stillness, because of my troubled childhood, I crave you constantly. Because it's only when I'm still in my mind can I truly be creative and feel a sense of peace and calm, no longer in this constant motion of survival. Sometimes stillness is about total silence, in the refuge of my inner world, but in other moments it's quite the opposite. Chaos, noise and movement are also welcome to bring calmness and creativity, and the sea is the perfect place for this to occur. Its power over my mind and body gives me a chance to be present once more, to reset, reconnect, recharge, release, and feel reborn. This is my truth, kindest.
This is my truth, kindest.